Hello.
Hi.
Great.
Mute myself.
Is my volume okay?
Sounds good.
Perfect, thanks. All right. See a few people are joining us. I'll wait for everybody to get on here. Just a couple minutes. How's everybody this evening? I hope well. I'm going to wait just another couple of minutes before starting in so that everybody has time to get here. If you need, I would recommend getting something to take some notes with. Or if you're really good at remembering information, that's fine. I'm going to send out an email with notes and a reminder about what happened we discussed tonight. But if you can, I would get something to take notes with, whether on your phone or your tablet or pen and paper. That's what I do. Old school. I am really happy to have so many women joining tonight. I'm very excited to be talking about this, obviously very important women's health topic in a community setting like this. I feel like in our traditions now, we've really gotten away from this space of like women sharing with women, women helping, healing each other. We've gotten away from that. So I'm so excited to create a space to bring that back in. Okay. I'll probably wait until about 7:05 to start, give everybody a couple minutes. I know I have everyone in different time zones and some in different countries. Thank you, Mackenzie. And if you want, I made myself a cup of tea for tonight. So if anybody else wants to get their cup of tea for the evening and settle in. If you have magnets and you want to, I have mine here for demonstration purposes because I am going to be showing some biomagnetism. Hi from Costa Rica. That's exciting. I know we have somebody joining from Germany, so we have an international group this evening. If you have magnets with you, you don't, that's fine. But if you have some, you can get them and we can put some of the pairs on while we're talking. I'll be demonstrating some of the locations that I love to use when it comes to breast health. And which ones are going to be the most beneficial. So if you want to have your magnets, you can get your magnets and have them ready. Nobody has to see you with them on. And you can either tape them on, or in situations like this, my shortcut is to layer them. So I'm just going to demonstrate with a medium and a small, but you can tuck the magnet under and then put another one on top of it and it will hold it right in place for you. So you don't want to tape your magnets on. That is my hack. Wear my magnets in the car and around the house. Keep them in place. All righty. So we are going to get started. Thank you all for joining me. I'm very excited for this. What I'm going to be talking about, and I want to have more of a conversation for women around, is this idea of how do we have healthy breasts in the first place? We're told a lot about making sure we do our monthly exams and yearly checks, but there isn't a lot of conversation or education around how do we keep our breasts healthy in the first place. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. And really easy to implement steps. All of us have very full plates And the last thing that I want to do is add an additional burden or an extra weight to that plate. So how can we take care of ourselves and integrate it in the easiest way possible? But before we get into that, let me get my legal bit out, okay? So this is an educational video. I am not a physician. All of the information provided is for informative and educational purposes. It is not intended as a substitute for the advice provided by your healthcare professionals. It is not intended to treat or diagnose, and the use of this content is at your own discretion. Right? So these are just tips that I use on a regular basis. I have learned from other women, from other healers, and we just want to share this. So the first thing that when we start talking about breast health, the breasts aren't particularly complicated. And one of the main things about keeping your breast healthy is understanding that healthy lymphatic flow is key to that. Our breasts are made up primarily of fat, some connective tissue. We have milk-producing ducts and glands, and lymphatic tissue. And a lot of that, there's not much we can do about the health of, but the lymph we can. And that is incredibly, incredibly important. And I think most women do not understand that your breasts are primarily almost like a lymph organ, right? A lymph organ, but in that it's very important. So it's really important that we have healthy lymphatic flow, and the healthier that flow is, and the healthier lymphatic system is overall, then the healthier our breasts are going to be. So bottom line, healthy breast, healthy lymph system is going to give you healthy breast. And the number one easiest way to do that is to not wear bras. And especially bras that are, as I say, as I'm wearing a bra. But the easiest way to do that is making sure that our bras aren't too tight, okay? Lymphatic vessels are very, very superficial and delicate. They are just under the skin line. So if you are wearing undergarments that leave a mark, if your band, when you take your bra off, leaves a mark on the skin, or it's cutting in on your shoulder, you are compressing those lymphatic vessels. And they're really important because we have, even if it wasn't just about our breast, there's a tremendous amount of lymph vessels right here on the sides and in our armpits, and where the main lymphatic system connects back to our circulatory system is here under our collarbone. So everywhere that we're wearing a bra, and can be having issues with that, okay? So the less often you wear a bra, the better. Now, that might not be an option for everybody. We have to look professional in settings. Maybe we're not comfortable. Maybe we like our sexy underpinnings, and that's fine. The less often you wear it, the better it's going to be. And please do not sleep. At least let your breast have good, healthy flow then. And if you need to wear a bra, if we can make sure that it's not too tight, or we start wearing like shapewear or camisoles, things that will hold you and give you a little support without compromising that blood flow. So the number one easiest thing you can do for your healthy breast is wear your bra less. That's the easiest thing you can do, okay? Now, I know most of you here know me because of biomagnetism, so I'm gonna go into that, and I'm gonna share with you some of my top hair placements for using your magnets to keep your breast healthy. Now, on my website, I do have a free breast health video that's there. And some of these are in that video and some of them are not. So if you want to record this bit or write some of it down, feel free. And I'll explain to you why each one of these pairs is important for it, okay? So we talked about the lymph being very important, lymphatic flow and keeping that healthy. And the number one pair for a healthy lymphatic system on your body as a whole is right here in the middle of your clavicle. So your clavicle is the bone that goes from the sternum out to your shoulder.
Excuse
right
me.
in the middle of it.
Hi, sorry to.
Sure.
Yeah, so you said to record, but it won't let us record without permission.
I apologize. How do I do that? Does somebody know how to? I guess I meant like if I wanted to. Stop recording. Do you guys know how I make that so everybody can do it?
Yeah, I don't know.
So you see that next to your recording sign, there is a green check mark box. So if you click on that, next to the recording to your left, there is a red dot and it says recording.
Uh-huh.
Right next to it, there is a green check box.
Mm-hmm.
Click on that. And it should open up like a window with your meeting ID and the host. And then inside of that meeting ID, inside of that window, you will see a little flower on the top right, which is the settings.
Mm-hmm.
And if you click on recording, you can choose.
Or a separate file for each participant. Choose location with recording files.
Share screen. I know it's there.
And share. What I will
People are chatting that maybe you could just send us all the recording after.
Sure, let's do that.
Okay, sounds great.
Yeah, because I'm not seeing it like really quickly without. I am the least technologically advanced millennial there probably is. So this is not what I do. So I can send you the links and I'll have this. And you could, if you're watching, like, let's say on a desktop or a laptop and you have your phone and you would want to record it, you can do that. So number one pair is subclavicle. Okay, so the clavicle bone is midline is our sternum. There's this bone right here that goes all the way to our shoulder. Right in the middle of it, you kind of feel like a little soft spot there. That's where the magnets need to go. On the right side of your body, whenever we have bilateral pairs, so there's magnets going on the right and the left side, the black faces the skin on the right and the red faces the skin on the left. You just put it right midline there. That is the thoracic duct. That is where the lymphatic system connects back into your circulatory system. And it is, in my opinion, one of the most important pairs for breast health. Okay, so right here, midline. I put this on in the car, just the way I showed you all. You can like tuck your magnets underneath there and layer another magnet on top and it will hold it in place. And you can just have it there. Generally leaving them on 15-20 minutes, but you could leave it on longer if you are doing other things and want to leave it on. That's completely fine. So right under subclavicle here, big important biomagnetic pair for lymphatic health and thus the health of our breast. The next one is going to be in the armpits because we have lots of lymph vessels up here underneath the armpit. So black magnet on the right side up underneath your armpit, just like that. You can hold it in place. You can tape it. You can layer the magnets like I showed you, whatever you'd like to do. Black on the right, red on the left, up underneath there. Again, that is going to help balance and encourage lymph flow up in the armpit, or what's known as the axilla. Really, really important for breast health. We're seeing, it's interesting how this has gone into conventional medicine and understanding, because we realize that having deodorant with aluminum in it is not great for breast health, because where are we putting that heavy metal? Directly into the lymph vessels in the lymph system right by the breast. The other one that I like, and this is easy to do, if you have more than one pair of magnets and you're wearing a bra or some kind of supportive top underneath, you can just tuck your magnets into that and hold them in place. That's another really easy way. Just kind of tuck them around and think like you want to just keep the breast tissue really healthy. So we have it here, subclavicle for lymphatic flow, armpit, axilla, that's really important. There are right here on this side wall of our chest. So right in the middle here, where the seam of a shirt is, the side of your bra, another large collection of lymph nodes. So black facing the skin on the right, red facing the skin on the left. And you can just tuck that right up underneath your bra or into it, whatever you're wearing, to help that. Now, the other one that is not really like a real technical biomagnetism pair, and you will choose which size magnet you want depending on the size of your breast, but this is nice just to kind of the breast tissue in general, healthy and balanced, is just straight down, right in the middle, black on the right, red on the left. Again, you can tuck this into your bra and wear it. You can have them here, you can have them here, up in the armpits, anywhere you'd like to do that. That's just going to keep this entire breast tissue healthy and balanced, which is what we want to do, and encourage good lymphatic flow. So those are 4 of the main pairs that I think are important, and they're easy enough to integrate, and you can do them as often as you like. One of the questions I get is, can you overmagnetize yourself? And that is not, especially in this setting, not a thing. So use them as often as it fits into your schedule and you're comfortable doing it. You're doing it so much that you are doing it begrudgingly and you hate doing it, let's step it back. I want you to be enjoying what you're doing in your life and not hating it. Any questions on those 4 biomagnetism pairs? You can either type it into the, no, we type it into the chat. Go ahead, Victoria.
So why we don't engage the bladder?
You can, that is different in here. That would be more if you had like a very specific area, nodule cyst that we were working on. But in the case of keeping tissue healthy and balanced, in biomagnetism, the most common pairing is a bilateral, so right to left. And in all of these, doing it like a pairing from the breast to the bladder is not going to have that big of a difference with lymphatic flow. And that's what I wanted to really emphasize and focus on here. If you had maybe a cyst that you were working on specifically, or you had recovering from breast surgery of some sort, then in that case, we would start working on more anti-inflammatory pairs, inflammation modulating pairs. And in that case, that's where the bladder comes in.
And is bladder red or bladder black?
If it was for a trauma and we were looking to like reduce inflammation and that, then the bladder, the area of the trauma would be red and the bladder would be black.
Got it. And last question, if there is a calcification of the breast tissue, which is a pretty normal experience, but obviously like the body is starting to calcify, is there a specific pair that you would recommend or protocol?
In a case like that, it's because it's happening, but that means there's more of an advanced process that's happening. There's not a specific pair that would be a situation where a full scan would be a better way to handle that situation.
Thank you.
Yep.
I always have tricky questions.
No worries. Okay. All 4 pairs, somebody typed in here. Can all 4 pairs be done at the same time? Absolutely. If you have that many magnets, you can absolutely put them all on at the same time. If you've had sessions with me or anybody else that does biomagnetism, you know we put a lot of magnets on at once. So if you have enough, just get yourself like, you know, a little magnet bra going. Any other questions about biomagnetism?
Also, I just wanted to say, like, for on top of the breast, are you using the 1.5 inch size? Because it looked bigger.
Yeah, so you can use it. I mean, it depends. It kind of depends on your breast size, but I think they're a little bit nicer. It covers kind of more area.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Okay.
And I just have one more question.
Sure.
I didn't quite catch how you were getting the magnets to stay on the body.
Oh, sure.
You
So
help with that
mostly
again?
I use masking tape. You can use kind of any tape, but I find masking works best for me. And this is what I use all the time. Painter's tape. Some people use Scotch tape. I would not recommend duct tape. You pull them off the magnets. So you can tape them on. You can tuck them in. So, you know, like my shirt, I guess I wore the wrong shirt to demonstrate this, but you could kind of tuck it in or your bra can hold it in place. But the other thing that I do quite frequently is layer the magnets up. So you put one on top of each other and they just pinch the material in between and it gets them to stick in place. And you can do, you know, a bigger one on top, smaller one, that doesn't matter.
But if you're layering them up, then it's like on both sides, you would need to layer them up so that you have an equal magnetic push or pull.
Well, if you're doing that so that they hold in place, you're going to be doing that anyways. You know, because if you're doing
on both sides.
Yeah.
Okay, so one on the bottom and one on the top.
Yep.
I
Yep,
get it.
it's
On the
just-
cloth. It's on the cloth actually, is what it is.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. All right. So those are our main biomagnetism pairs for it. If you just want to think of it bilaterally on both sides of the breast, black facing the skin on the right, red facing the skin on the left. Focusing on areas where you have lymph vessels is going to be really important. So subclavicle, underneath the armpits, chest wall, and then kind of front and center. The next thing we're going to talk about is when we want to move the lymph system, how do we get the lymphatic system to move? Biomagnetism is going to encourage that lymph flow. It's going to keep the tissue healthy and balanced. But the lymphatic system is unique, that unlike the circulatory system, it doesn't have a pump. Like our heart is what moves the blood through our body. The lymphatic system doesn't have that. What generally happens is the lymph is around muscle. And so when you're walking and exercising, that muscle contracts and it squeezes the lymph vessels and it moves and it creates a pump. However, our breasts don't have muscles in them. So that is not how lymph is moving out of the breast. And the main ways that lymph moves through the breast is movement. So if we're walking, you're exercising, anything that is causing the breast to shake and jiggle is moving that lymph and getting it to flush. Breathing is another main way that we pump lymph, stagnant lymph out of the breast tissue and bring fresh lymph in. That is because in our ribs that are behind our breast on the rib wall, the lymph vessels run in between those ribs. So when you inhale and exhale, that creates a pumping motion on those lymph vessels, okay? And that is what allows stagnant lymph to come out and the fresh lymph to come in. And we want that, I think I skipped over this part, because the lymph is a part of our immune system. So it brings in all sorts of important immune cells, immune receptors, all of that comes in, and we want that coming in to help keep the breast healthy, flushing out any kind of stagnation and bringing good things in. So how do we make sure our ribs are moving properly? First of all, just by what I showed you, putting magnets, if you have an area that you can feel feels a little stuck, those magnets bilaterally on the chest will help. But it's also really important to see a chiropractor or osteopath regularly and have them just check to make sure that everything is moving the way it should so that it is pumping properly. I know one of the physicians that I have mentored with, he's an osteopath, amongst other things, and he can feel when a rib is out and almost directly locate where there's a rib that's not moving well to a mass or a cyst that's starting to form because those ducts are blocked. So it's important that we just make sure all of that mechanics is moving well. What we can do for ourselves at home outside of exercise and walking and laughing and sex and anything else that's getting your breast to move is lymphatic breast massage. And this is very different than your monthly checks that you're doing where you're really moving the breast tissue around, feeling for lumps and bumps. This is really just designed to help move lymph tissue, lymph out of the breast. It is not, you don't push really hard because we talked about how delicate and superficial those lymphatic vessels are. So you don't press hard. Let me sit up higher so you can see. But you want to support the breast underneath. And you start from the nipple, think of the nipple and then spokes of a wheel going out. Think of the lymph vessels moving out in all directions that way, okay? And we want to move them to the lymph vessels in the armpit. And we want to move it up here underneath our clavicle. So when you're doing lymphatic breast massage, you cup underneath, you support your breast, one hand, and with the other one, starting at the nipple, very slowly and gently move up and towards those areas, underneath your clavicle, up towards the armpit. Do it up this way, okay? Underneath, you can kind of go up, around, and out, like that. So when you're doing it, think of silly putty. To get silly putty to stretch, you kind of have to warm it up and get it to move. That's the motion that you're going to be doing. You're not going to just go like this. You want to just have it a little bit slower. firm but not hard pressure up and towards the armpits, up and around, okay? Both sides. After you do that a few times, you can also cup the breast and kind of squeeze it in towards the chest wall, almost like you're kind of squeezing out a sponge. So squeeze it into the chest wall and relax. Squeeze it into the chest wall and relax. That, if you can incorporate that on a daily basis, every other day, the difference that you are going to feel in your breast is going to be really noticeable. It's going to make a huge difference. You can do this in the shower and just take a couple minutes. I use oil on my breast. I work a lot with herbs, so I use oils that are infused with rose petals and calendula, both of which herbs are really healthy for the lymphatic tissue. They help move lymph. They're very moisturizing to the skin. They help with skin elasticity. They can break down scar tissues. Calendula is very effective at breaking down scar tissue. So if you've had breast surgery of any sort, biopsies, lumpectomies, radiation, too much time in the sun, any of those things, like using an oil on the breast, because that's going to help your hand glide more smoothly and effectively over it. Using an oil like that is infused with herbs is just going to make all of this more effective. Kind of layering the medicine in there. Plus it feels lovely and it smells nice. Kind of like when you hit all the check marks there. So that's really, it's just really important. And I think, like, how beautiful would it be that if we start teaching our young women this, if we start teaching our daughters as they're starting to go through puberty, that, look, this is a part of our daily maintenance, is taking care of our breast. And like, we put oil on our breasts and we appreciate them and we do this massage. How that would help them go through that process. That's going to reduce some of the discomfort that they're experiencing at that time with breast growth. It also gets them very comfortable with their breast, not in a sexual way, which is how most of us tend to look at that, right? Like they're such a sexualized organ. So how do we get comfortable with our own breast, feel them? When you're massaging them and checking them on a regular basis like that, you're going to notice when there's changes and when you need to be concerned and when you need to go and see a physician and say, hey, there's something going on, because, and it wasn't here 2 days ago and now it is, because I do breast massage regularly. I notice this about my body. So incorporating that in it's just a beautiful practice that I try to fit in as often as possible. I never get it in every day, but as often as possible. Any questions about lymphatic massage of the breasts? Good. Okay. The last thing I'm going to talk about tonight that is really helpful is castor oil packs. And some people, you may be thinking, like, what does a castor oil pack on my liver have to do with my breast? But we're going back to this idea of how important it is to have a healthy lymphatic system, and the health of your lymph reflects in the health of your breast, and your liver helps detoxify all of that. So this is another thing that I do several times a week. I feel like there's a lot of different approaches to castor oil packs. This is mine. It is maybe the shortcut, because generally when you do a castor oil pack, you put castor oil on the liver. They suggest you lay there for an hour. That is not something I make time in my day for. I don't really have time in the day to lay on my couch for an hour. So when I do my castor oil packs, I do them at night, right before I go to bed. That's how I'm able to fit them in. Yes, I'm going to show you where in just a minute. So I do my castor oil packs at night for two reasons. One, I have the time. I'm going to be asleep. Two, your body is detoxifying at night. So why wouldn't I do something that's aimed at helping the detoxification process also at night? Okay. So with the castor oil packs that I'm talking about here are going to be on your liver. And then I have a pretty large heating pad. I also do it on my navel and that whole lower abdomen, there's a lot of lymphatic tissue there. So your liver is behind the ribs, behind your ribs on the right-hand side. So if you're everywhere you can feel, like underneath your breast, you feel all your ribs and bones, that's where your liver is. Liver is really important. So the body wants to protect it with bones. If you're down below and where it's soft, that's into the gut. That's not where your liver is. So you're going to want to put this castor oil all in this right upper quadrant. And then I put some down around my navel, womb space, lower abdomen where the intestines are. You're going to put about a quarter size amount of castor oil in your hand. You haven't worked with castor oil before. It is thick like molasses, like really thick stuff. It is not at all like olive oil, like viscosity. So a little bit goes a long way. So you put a little bit of there, I massage it in to the liver, lower belly down here. Then what I do is I take a cloth. I'm not particular about what cloth. This is just a flannel cloth that I have. I then put it over that area that I put all of the castor oil, because the point of the cloth is to keep the oil from getting everywhere. Okay. So you put it on, and then what I do is I take my heating pad, which lays on the floor by my bed all the time. I take my heating pad and I put it over. Mine is large enough that it covers my liver space and down into the lower abdomen. And that's it. I go to sleep. My heating pad has a automatic 2-hour shut off to it. So I know it's going to turn off at some point, and then I fall asleep. At some point, I'll probably wake up, roll around, move the heating pad off, the cloth, and that's it. So for me, this is incredibly effective because it's not like I'm trying to fit another thing into my day. And this time of year is starting to get cooler. It kind of feels nice and cozy and snuggly to like get in bed with your heating pad and have that working on your liver all night long. So I know some people, when they do castor oil packs, they talk about soaking the cloth and they wrap themselves in plastic and it's a big mess. And by all means, if you do that and you're comfortable with that, that's great. This is what works for me. And I just find that it's simple and easy. And I find if it's not simple and easy, I'm not going to do it. That's how I get it fit into my day. Yeah, I think that answered the questions. Somebody put in there that it's good for menopause. Castor oil packs is great for that. But yes, the breast massage also. I think that's what that was in reference to. And the location, does everybody understand where I was talking about, where you would put the oil and like the cloth and the heating pad for castor oil? So that's it. I didn't want to take up too much time tonight of everybody, but really just saying to have healthy breast, let's work on having a healthy lymphatic system. And we're going to mostly do that by not wearing tight bras all the time, letting our breast being free as often as we can. We're going to work on that by movement and breast massage, lymphatic breast massage, moving it up and out, getting manual work, whether it's biomagnetism, chiropractor, osteopathy, having an osteopath work on you, making sure that our ribs and everything is moving properly, that we're stretching the space. Yoga is another great practice to really open up all of that tissue and help move everything. Okay. We have our breast massage that we're going to be doing, and then castor oil packs. And you don't have to do all of that. You can pick one or two, maybe one resonates you more than the other, and fit into your schedule what works for you. And any of it is better than none. So if you just say like once a week, I'm going to stick magnets in my bra, great. That's better than nothing. So I really hope that that's just giving you guys some small tips and suggestions to really start doing more care of our breast, and that you can share that with all of the women that you love, your mom, sisters, aunties, cousins, daughters, best friends, all of that. I'll be sending out an email too that just recaps everything we talked about. Before I close this out, is there any other questions that I can address? I'm going to look here in the chat real quick, make sure I didn't miss somebody.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm wondering where you studied biomagnetism.
I studied with Dr. Goyes,
Okay.
no longer teaching, but his son was at that time. So Moises Goyes. And then I studied with Dr. Luis Garcia, mentored with him, I've
Mhm.
taught with him. And then I studied with Dr. Miguel Ojeda. And
Uh-huh.
there was somebody else there based out of Spain. I took a class based out of Spain also.
Oh, great. Yeah. I also do
Years and
biomagnetism
years of practice.
in Costa Rica, and often people come to me from the States and I need to send them to people.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
yeah, so I saw you online on your website and I thought, oh, let me check in with her because she
Oh,
might be
thank you.
I can send
I'm happy,
people to.
like there needs to be more biomagnetism practitioners out there. It's such an awesome therapy.
It is.
I love having more information out there for everybody. Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Rasa, so I also started with Dr. Garcia, and he actually told me that Danielle is one of the most exceptional students he has, and I recommend Danielle to all of my clients.
Thank you, Victoria.
She actually has a very robust practice, so it's not just the biomagnetism, and she's very skilled in kinesiology, so she can really attune on a distance even to the wisdom of the body and see what's going on. She also like even accesses Akashic record, but she doesn't say it. I know what she does because she's a wonderful witch and a sister, and like her professionalism, her capacity to kind of like really name the issue and intuitively guide people. She actually suggested castor oil for me when I had thyroid flare. So my question was like, where else can you apply castor oil?
Sure.
It's
Yeah, I know some people who did it. We did it on your thyroid, I think. Absolutely. Those are the main areas that I am familiar with using it, but it's a very nourishing oil. So if I body oil all the time. I use oils on my body all the time for everything because they really calm down the nervous system and they're very nourishing to the body. So if there's a space that you're feeling like this part of me could really use that extra comfort and care and nourishment that a really beautifully made oil has to offer, then absolutely try it. I am mostly familiar with using castor oil packs for the thyroid, on the liver, and the abdomen. I make a castor oil infused with violet leaf, and that's really because it works with the lymphatic system also, and that's really lovely for the womb space. So if you're having menstrual cramps, if you any kind of uterine complaint, fibroids, that kind of thing, I have used castor oil packs for, and I find that the violet in there is just a beautiful addition. It's really
what is it?
for breast
Violet?
oils too. Huh?
What's the ingredient? Livent, you said?
Violet leaf.
Violet leaf.
Mm-hmm.
So you actually can have like castor oil moisturizer or like.
I would not do that. It's so thick and it's kind of gross. But like, I wouldn't do. I use it where I use it, but I use a lot of other oils on my skin. Yeah, but anytime, like oil is just lovely for the body, and it's been used traditionally in so many cultures that if you feel a space of your body that needs to be oiled, like I encourage people to try that. So castor oil, like I said, mostly with the thyroid, liver, lower abdomen, like intestines there, and uterus. But it might be, you can always look for other places. Those are where I'm most familiar with it. Is the violet leaf infused into the castor oil? Yes, I make it. I do a whole plant infusion, a double extraction of the plant to get the most medicinal properties of the plant into the oil.
Can we buy it on your website?
I don't have it on my website. I'm out of stock right now, but if you send me a message, as soon as it sells out very quickly when I make it. So when I get more in, if you guys want some of that, or the breast oil that I was talking about, which is I infuse with lavender, rose petals and fresh calendula, both harvested from my garden. Just send me an email about that and I can get you some. Any other questions, ladies, before we wrap up? Okay. Well, thank you all so much for taking the time out to join me. I really appreciate it. And I'm just happy that we were able to create this space and like this sharing of feminine wisdom and knowledge. So thank you for joining me. Everybody,
Thank you for having us.
thank you.
Thank you.
Love you.
Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you. All right, take care, ladies. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.